What's going on, everybody? Pacific Sports Talk Radio here with Dean and Brady.
Hello, hello.
Happy Monday, happy Flannel Monday.
Happy Flannel Monday.
Episode 11 here. And we're going to get right into it with the March Madness talk. Got a little Everlast going on for the Monday vibes. What's going on, Dean?
Nothing much, man. It was a crazy first couple of rounds. I mean, the last of the round 32 finishes tonight, but man, it's been wild.
I know, man.
Our bracket is broken. We haven't lost our champ, but it's been rough. But a lot of people are dealing with the same tragedy, you know. Unless you're a Baylor fan, you know, I'm pretty confident in Baylor. So why don't we get into we'll review everything that happened, but first let's get into some betting talk. Maybe we missed. There were some games earlier, but we have 2 games left, right, tonight?
Yeah, we got 2 more.
So Maryland and Alabama and USC and Kansas.
Yeah.
So, what are we feeling here?
Personally,
Yeah.
I like Bama and I like USC.
Okay, so Bama, I got it here. Well, on ESPN, they're -6. I think they'll cover that.
They're -6.5.
I'm pretty confident. I'd still take that. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So
we're taking out what?
I think -6 is good. I don't think they're going to lose.
ESPN says -6.
I don't think they're going to lose to Maryland, but I think if they beat them, it's going to be by more than 6 points. I don't see it being a close game.
Yeah, so we'll say the Tide will cover 6.5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah, Tide
right?
covers 6, and then
Tide covers 6.
USC and Kansas.
They're the last game of the day.
Yeah, I like USC on that one.
Let me see.
I wasn't impressed with
USC's favored.
Yeah, by 1.
Wow.
I wasn't impressed with Kansas's showing against the Eastern Washington.
Wow. So we'll just do USC money line. Essentially the same thing.
Sounds good to me.
All right, well, that's our 2 picks for the night, people. So we'll do the Tide to cover -6, and we're taking USC money line, thinking the Jayhawks are done tonight.
Yeah, Jayhawks, man. Wasn't impressed with their play against Eastern Washington. And I feel like most of the teams that were impressive, aside from Oregon, and we can get into some of these matchups, Dean. A lot of the teams that were impressive are staying impressive, right? UCLA put on a big display against BYU, and I know Abilene Christian's not great, but they continued it.
Abilene.
Yeah. I just feel like a lot of the teams that were impressive in the first round stayed impressive. It's momentum based.
On the other side of the coin, I think that all the high seeds, even the ones that won, besides Gonzaga and Baylor, all came out flat. Every game, they came out flat and flat and flat. It was ridiculous. It's like there was no sense of urgency, And I do think that, you and I were talking about it, I think COVID had a dramatic impact on this March Madness. I think that the big schools, they're used to playing in front of crowds of 10,000s, It's just like with the NBA rookies. I like Tyler Herro and those guys. I don't really take their rookie year and put much weight into it. And this year in the NBA, there's no fans, We've seen in the history of the NBA, like, guys buckle under pressure. And the NCAA, especially the tournament,
So what do you think of LaMelo Ball? Just really quickly, would you put him in that category? He's balling out right now,
Look,
but he's it's similar to what he was dealing with when he was, a high school student. There's not that big of a crowd. He was in Slovenia.
I think LaMelo Ball is a little different of a case because he's more of a passer. He's less of a shooter, right? I think these shooting percentages specifically, the 3-point percentage specifically, is way higher because there's no fans.
Definitely.
I don't think that there has been this since Steph Curry, started this whole trend for the 3-pointer in college and the pros, that they've improved that much from the 3-point line in 5 years. I don't believe that. I think that the lack of crowd noise has had a huge factor this year and last year.
Oh, no, completely. I mean, if we've talked about it before on the show, I'm pretty sure, but a lot of teams that, thrive on crowd involvement, like Milwaukee Bucks, for example, they just were flat out run out of the building by these teams that could get hot from 3, like Miami.
Yeah.
And that just wouldn't happen in a playoff atmosphere. So translating that into March Madness, I think you're right? With all these...
The small schools. The small schools. It helped all of them. Yeah.
How far do you see
I think,
Oral Roberts going?
Oral Roberts? Who do they play next?
Is it Nova? Hold on. You should know this.
No, they play one of the teams Arkansas. Oh, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Interesting, huh?
I don't know. Arkansas seems to kind of find their footing after their slow first,
LSU.
They played better.
LSU's up 6 right now.
I mean, a lot of us had Michigan ruled out after Styles. I think is it Styles? I forget. That senior that they had. He got hurt.
Did we have Michigan out? I forget.
We don't have Michigan losing this round. We had them losing to Georgetown next round.
Right.
Yeah, we had them beating LSU, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, the Big Ten has been an absolute joke. That is what I'd like to say.
Big burn.
Well, what else can you say?
Nothing.
I mean, how many top seeds do they have that all fell? How does Ohio State? And I saw Jay talk about this. The guy that literally just talks about and follows college basketball all year long on ESPN. He said it was one of the largest upsets in the last 20 years. Oral Roberts beating Ohio State.
Yeah, we didn't see that one coming, obviously, with Ohio State in our finals, but it happens.
I think that if our bracket was not in a non-COVID year, I would have been I would have been confident in it.
No, totally. I mean, just the reads that our bracket had were just not for this year, right? Because in a non-COVID year, you're not going to see the Pac-12 do what they're doing. And
well, they haven't. Yeah, I mean Arizona maybe, but UCLA hasn't. I remember I have a UCLA Final Four shirt, like in a size medium. Like I was like a little kid. I remember my mom.
The size medium just says
yeah,
how long ago it was.
I think that was the K Love.
Dude, I was wearing size.
I haven't fit in a medium in like 10 years.
I was wearing size small when we grew a lot. I was wearing size small when I was like I was short for a while, but I mean, you could talk about like it was like 3 sizes ago, which is probably like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I know. No, I think I have the K Love Russell Westbrook shirt. I think that's when they went to the Final Four. I have that. So that's saying something. That's the last time I remember UCLA being like a powerhouse. UCLA hasn't been good in 10 years, No, that was a fun team that year. Yeah, that was a crazy team. And and I think they also had Drew too. Maybe no, that was later. They had Drew Holiday later. But I saw on ESPN that they said that this is the first time ever that 4 12 seeds or lower have made it to the round of 32 ever in the history of March Madness.
Wow.
So what is that? Haven't they been doing March Madness for like 80 years or something? Like that's so crazy.
I think that's just. I think there's one factor really in it, and you hit it right on the head, right? With COVID, it's an odd year. Everything's different. Oregon
got a bye.
Yeah, we got screwed on that. Yeah.
Oregon got a bye. 1-0. Hell of a game.
So are we doing an episode with Riley on Elite 8, right? To see where we're at?
Yes. So we will be doing that probably next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday. Wow, man.
Because Saturday is going to be the first round, or not the first section of the Sweet 16, and then Sunday is going to be all the teams that played today.
Over or under, are we going to have 3 out of 8 in the Elite 8? I would put the over under at 3.
Oh, the Elite 8?
I don't think...
We have Houston. Houston, if Alabama wins.
Gonzaga.
And Gonzaga, that's it. Yeah, that's it. We don't have anyone else.
Oh,
that's our entire...
Got messed up
because Iowa lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Iowa lost, yeah. God, I can't believe that.
Yeah, this is kind of RIP for that bracket. But we're going to be coming at you with some Benton picks, so stick with us here.
A lot of people got torn up. Yeah, we will be. We'll be more interested in betting now. It's going to be a little less bracketology, but...
All right, so Dean...
we will talk about all the matchups.
Dean, let's go over a couple of the matchups that happened over the weekend. There's a lot to unpack.
Sure.
Why don't we talk about some games that stood out to us? And we don't have to go into them too quick because they played multiple already.
So why don't we just go over like...
You want to talk about?
Yeah, they played twice.
Just talk about
I don't really want to.
Second round, I feel like
second round.
First round's just that's old news.
I don't want to talk about the first round. Yeah, that's But the only outlier in the first round is that I can't believe Ohio State lost. That was unbelievable. But
yeah.
So the second round, yeah, Sunday, yeah, Saturday and Sunday. Oh yeah. So the two big ones that I think about are how two small schools, interstate schools, interstate little brothers beat the big brothers. Loyola Chicago taking down the University of Illinois, and Abilene Christian taking out UT. That was I watched that whole game. That game was nuts. It's like everyone on Texas is over 6'8", and there's just these small, like, not really athletic looking dudes on Abilene Christian, and it was just like, oh my god, I can't. Again, they came out flat, and oh, this is the big thing I'd like to take away. I mean, we'll talk about, but those are the two matchups. But one thing that has kind of made free throw shooting. I just forgot how terrible college players are at free throw shooting. It's just if the lower seed, the less talented team, can stay in the game, stay within 5 points, and they start fouling people, and they all the small schools shoot well for the free throw line, so they could upset them. And especially this year, that's what I've been watching. It was Texas and Ohio State earlier, and Illinois were missing free throw after free throw. It was ridiculous.
This damn thing. Yeah, Dean. And I mean, personally, I think, I feel like at the small schools, right, they're focused more on the fundamentals because they don't have the athletic and just pure physical, the beasts that you get in the top NBA pretty much schools, the ones that are putting players
the Power
5
yeah.
schools. So, when you're a Power 5 recruiter, you're looking for guys that can, get to the rack and dunk and all that, shoot threes. But you're not getting as many good free throw shooters. This damn fucking mic keeps bending over.
I'm just holding mine.
You got the same mic? Does yours like move around and stuff?
I'm just holding it. I hold it these days.
Okay, I'm gonna follow you on that. I feel like that's
just holding it. Yeah. You want to finish your point?
No, I think that I just think it's interesting how the David and Goliath, but like you can have these small schools that are they can do the fundamentals, they can hit free throws and stay in the game, and at the end of the day that kind of helps out in these one and done games.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The fundamentals could definitely be seen with. Man, I think Loyola is a dangerous 8 seed right now. Loyola Chicago, they dominated that game from start to finish. Like it wasn't. I could feel like with 10 minutes left in the first half that they're gonna, if they just keep up this defensive pressure, they're gonna. I think they forced Illinois into like 11 turnovers or something. They were getting steal after steal. They were swarming in active hands. They were just tipping balls away. It was pretty wild.
That interstate, man.
On the other hand, yeah, and then man, I don't know any other team that is as hot as Syracuse is from the 3-point line right now.
Who's that one player that's just been lighting it up?
Behind son, right? Coach's son.
Yeah.
That guy, I think he has 55 in his first 2 games of the tournament. 55 points.
That guy is scorching hot. I might take him on a prop bet next week.
13 threes, man. I think he has 13 threes.
He hit 6.
I would take him for threes.
He hit 6 last night or yesterday.
He was 7 of 10 in his first game, and he made 6 last game.
So another team that's been surprising is Oregon State. They've had 2 upsets of 10 or more points now. This time taking out Oklahoma State and the expected number 1 draft pick, Cade Cunningham. What were your thoughts after that game, man?
That game was tough to watch. Oregon State started the game like 1 of 7, but Oklahoma State didn't really take advantage. It's just like, man, you just see this disparity in, just making the other team pay for making mistakes in the NBA. It's just, you turn the ball over. That's in college. It's a lot. They can't take advantage of mistakes sometimes. Like that's just what happens. And Oregon State was able to hang around, and they were up by I think they got up to they were up by 16 in the first half, and Oklahoma State brought it back within. I think the closest they got was 4, but
yeah,
Oregon State's defense was smothering, and they also had they had that 7-1. Their center was just totally oversized. Oklahoma State didn't have anyone else as close to as tall as him.
Yeah, he was a big factor. Silva.
That was a big guy. Yeah, Roman Silva, I believe his name.
12 boards.
And I think maybe half of them were offensive rebounds, second chance points.
They got out rebounded actually. If you look at the stats there, and I'm just taking a look at both stat sheets. The Beavers had 2 players with at least 12 rebounds. Both of them had 12. The forward and the center that you were talking about, and that was pretty much a big game changer if you get the ball back on the offensive side.
And Oregon State was putting on the clamps early. Oklahoma State scored a lot more in the second half. I was really impressed by Oregon State's defense. I see why they won the Pac-12 tournament.
They held Oklahoma State to 28% from the field, which is
that's not even 3. That's from the field, right?
that's from the field. Yeah. What's funny is they were also 28% from 3.
Yeah. They were. They were. The only thing that was keeping them in the game for a while, their 3-point percentage was better than that until the end of the game. At the very end, they started just jacking up threes and screw up the percentage. But they were Oklahoma State was like 35 for a while, and that's how they were staying in the game. They were keeping it within like 10 because they would just hit a three. Cade, they were really locking on Cade, like at half court. They were just trying to force the ball out of his hands. And he didn't really have a ton of help besides that one other forward on Oklahoma State.
And, Dean, you mentioned defense, and obviously I was talking about the rebounds. Just to get into the stats here quickly, and we'll move on to the next matchup. The Beavers they out-rebounded Oklahoma State 49-28, which is ridiculous. And then they had 11 blocks to Oklahoma State's 2. So a lot of takeaways.
Oregon State was just so much more. It's what I was saying. Like with the big teams, some of these schools and Oregon State is still in the Power Fives, so you can't really play. I know they're a 12 seed, but Oklahoma State was didn't take them seriously. That's what it felt like. Like they were treating them like an Oral Roberts or something like that, you know. And Oregon State was just so much more aggressive, and it kind of out of the gate they started off flat, but then they punched Oklahoma State in the face. They went on a 14-0 run, and that was it. That was the game.
I guess we know who the real OSU is, and they really earned those colors as well. You know,
it was annoying watching them play because they're the same color scheme.
OSU, they literally if someone wasn't watching basketball and you told them that one team was the other, literally the same.
It was the same with the Rutgers Houston game.
Oh, really?
They're both similar, yeah. And that game was nuts.
But what's funny is Oregon State University is OSU, and then Oklahoma State is OSU.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true. You're right. I was just talking about the color scheme, but you're right. Yeah,
color and name. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, just quickly, Rutgers was controlling that whole game. We have Houston for our bracket, but Houston almost totally lost that one. That was crazy. They took the lead. They took the lead with 2 minutes left, and they hadn't had the lead since the first half. It was just again the Rutgers started missing free throws, and man, it just makes me appreciate. I love college basketball, and I love that it's a one and done. You were saying it. Your take was if it was a series like the NBA, people wouldn't really want to watch it, because it's bad basketball. A lot of it's bad basketball. The last 2 minutes of a college game is so long, and their free throw shooting is horrendous. No one shoot. Oral Roberts is the only team in the entire tournament that has been shooting really well from the free throw line. It's tough to watch the free throws.
Yeah, man. And I feel like there hasn't been too much drama, nothing virally crazy happening at the end of the game. There's been some crazy finishes, but I feel like in, the entirety of me watching March Madness, I've seen crazier. So.
Oh, you mean game-winning shots and stuff?
Yeah, I haven't really seen any game-winning threes.
You know what it's really been? Everyone's been winning ugly. It's just ugly games. I'm just just winning really ugly. Besides Syracuse has been shooting really well.
I feel like
the rest of them.
This might be the lowest level basketball in March Madness that we've seen in quite some time.
It's just the struggle to put the ball in the hole is real.
Shout out Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. What, are you too good for your home?
Let me.
That's what it feels like.
My girlfriend took my water bottle, so let me refill this because my throat is struggling here with the allergies. No, the allergies.
Yeah, well, let me just go on a little rant for a second. Yeah, I found it just missing layup after layup. It's been hard to watch. It makes me appreciate the NBA so much more, and guys finishing at the rack. Man, what Kyrie and Steph does, when you start watching college basketball, it's wow, no wonder they get paid so much money. Guys are missing wide open layups. They're expecting contact, so they're shooting it too hard. Who was playing? One of the teams that we had. Hold on.
No talking about Texas.
Let me think for a second.
No talking about Texas with me. That was brutal.
What do you mean?
I bet quite big on a
UT
parlay.
or Texas Tech? Texas Tech?
No, Texas UT. I had a parlay and they screwed me.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, well, we talked about it. That I can't. How do you lose? And you're Texas, and you lose to like a little no-name school in the tumbleweeds out there near El Paso. I mean, I don't think
might as well be Northwestern.
But UT, man, how does UT lose to that? Anyways, like watching the end of the Texas Tech Arkansas game. So Texas Tech had like 6 different wide open shots at the end of the game, and they couldn't bury one of them. Arkansas was giving them the game away. It was just, man, it's rough watching college basketball. I think that this year it's especially like ugly. You know, I think the lack of preseason and the lack of practicing. So I'm not trying to hammer. I love March Madness, but I do think that if it wasn't single game elimination, it's really ugly basketball and it'd be hard to watch.
Facts, Dean. And with that, let's get into the matchups that we have. Why don't we dive into the matchups? We already talked about the betting picks. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Sweet 16, or would you like to do that on our next?
I guess okay. I guess we can do the first half of the Sweet 16. We can do the first 8. We can do Saturday.
That's what I was
Plus,
thinking.
the Sunday games aren't even out yet.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, so why don't we do this? So, the lines, you're right. Not all the lines are out, but what we can do. What we can do is. We can talk about those matchups, and we can say who we like. And then on Friday, we can do more of the betting analysis. Is that cool?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so the first one is Oregon State against Loyola, and that's going to be an interesting game.
I'm actually stoked for that game. I think that's going to be 2 really gritty teams, you know?
Are you looking at an under there?
Yeah, they defend. Loyola Chicago, I think, was when I was watching the Illinois game, they were showing the rankings, and they're the number 1 ranked defense in the country. I didn't know that.
And then Oregon State can get some.
But the clamps.
Clamps on.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I would choose the under. It's going to be a slugfest, just diving on the ground for loose balls.
Can you pick a winner in that?
Blocks galore.
Because I feel like
I think Loyola Chicago. Go ahead.
I think Loyola should win, but everyone keeps counting Oregon State out. They got a chip on their shoulder.
But Loyola Chicago does too. They're not a big school.
Yeah, I know, but
they're gritty.
If you look at where those 2 teams are at right now, Loyola just upset the 1 seed, right? They are the favorite in this matchup. You're right. They're both chip on their shoulder, but I think going into this matchup, if you want to talk about the mindset behind it, I think Oregon State knows that Loyola thinks they're the shit right now. I don't think anyone's giving Oregon State credit even at this point in that matchup.
I agree with you, but I think being such a small school, I don't think Loyola can have that stuck up overlooking the opponent. I don't see Loyola doing that.
Okay.
I do think that Oregon State, no one is giving them a chance. I agree with you there. Because Loyola Chicago, man, I almost think they should have been a higher seed. They've been killing it, you know?
Impressive.
I do agree with you that Oregon State, some people, but I don't think, what is Oregon State, like 3 times the size of the school student body of Loyola Chicago? Like, I think Loyola Chicago still looks at themselves as those underdogs. They went to the Final Four in 2018, right? That was those underdog teams, but they're gritty still. I think Oregon State, whatever it is going to cover. I think it's going to be a close game. I do think that. Loyola Chicago is not going to blow them out of the water.
Yeah, no. I'm kind of siding with you on that one. I'm looking forward to that matchup, and I'm stoked, man.
I think that's going to be the best game that day, looking at the other matchups.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
I think let's get into Villanova Baylor.
I'm with Baylor. Baylor's been punking teams.
Yeah.
I think all those years of them getting upset as like a 3 or a 4 seed or a 5 seed, I think they have that mentality of we can't screw this up.
No, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
There were questions going into the tournament about their defense. Watching them play Wisconsin couldn't move the ball at all. It was kind of brutal watching the Wisconsin half-court offense. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get the ball in the paint. Baylor was forcing them to take these deep mid-range twos. It was just go ahead.
Baylor's a 6.5-point favorite, and to be honest, I'd be interested in that. I know Villanova has put the pounding on their first 2 opponents, winning sizably in both games.
Oh, I think Baylor will cover it.
But I just think Baylor will cover it, man.
Their defense. I kind of think like it's going to be. I think it can work out like that, right? I think it's going to be Baylor and Gonzaga in the champ game. Like I really think that. Baylor's shown because they're so good at threes, and Baylor plays with a lot of pace, you know. But I didn't think that their defense was that good, and they were just really impressed me. I would take Baylor covering that. I agree with you.
So, Oral Roberts in Arkansas. Is there any hope for this Cinderella story to make it to the Elite Eight?
This is when Florida Gulf Coast, the last 15, went down. I don't think they're going to beat Arkansas. I think their fairy tale run is over. To be honest, I think Arkansas is a little overrated of a 3 seed, but I just can't see a 15 seed winning 3 tournament games. I don't know. Maybe that's a little simple-minded, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think if there's a team for them to do it to, it's Arkansas. They're the shakiest high seed that I've seen, by far.
Mm-hmm.
That's still in the tournament. But with that being said, I wouldn't even be surprised at the slightest to see Arkansas win by 10.
Yeah,
or more.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page there.
I wouldn't be surprised either way. But you know what I mean. I'm not discounting it.
I can't imagine. Do you know what it takes for what's the lowest seed ever to win the tournament? I think it was that UConn team. What were they, an 8 or 7 or an 8?
They're an 8.
But they're like from a big power basketball conference, the Big East. You know, they're not as
their
good.
School has won before.
I know. See, like these are tiny schools. Like it's different. Like UCLA, I don't know, man. Maybe I don't think, but Oregon State, those aren't small schools, even though they're low seeds. For a team to break the 8, lower winning, this would be the year to do it. But I can't see a 15 seed winning 3 games. I can't. Arkansas, they've proved us wrong twice before, but I think Arkansas is going to take them really seriously. You see them take down Ohio State. You see him take down Florida. Who
that's close to home. That's close to home for Arkansas.
Yeah, SEC, man, SEC, right? Yeah, and they, Florida punks Arkansas in football. So Arkansas is probably taking this game super seriously. So I think their fairy tale run is over, but I could see them winning the game. But I don't know. This would be the year to see a 15 seed go to the Elite Eight, but I can't see that.
No.
As the likelihood.
Now you're right on that one, Dean. And Arkansas was they played against the Gators once in the regular season, and they won by 9 points, 11 points. So
yeah, Florida didn't really have a good team this year, anyways. Florida, it was kind of an underwhelming team.
I feel like because Arkansas and Bama were so good and LSU as well, they kind of gave the nod to Florida for doing decent in your guys' conference.
Well, I was kind of surprised. I thought the whole season LSU was better than Florida. I'm kind of surprised LSU got the 8 and Florida got the 7. I think it should have been switched.
Traditionally, you got to look at it like, they kind of give the nod to schools that have that legacy, right?
The pageantry, the history.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, they do. I mean, yeah, freaking UCLA's in. I mean,
UCLA always finds a way to get in. It's just good for publicity down there. So.
Yeah, even though all their Wooden was the coach when they were winning all those championships. Yeah. Anyways, okay, the last game of Saturday.
Pyramid of Success?
Yeah. Pyramid of Success. God, that's on my wall over there.
Is that actually?
Yeah, the Ron Swanson thing?
Well, Ron Swanson, you know who created that, though?
I know, but that's why he has it, yeah.
But Ron Swanson, he references it, but it's...
I know.
It's UCLA's coach. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But he made his own. I have it on my wall. The Ron Swanson Pyramid of Success.
Oh, you have his version of it.
Yes.
Oh, you have the.
Like an example is the only time a man should cry is at the funeral of his mother or in front of the Grand Canyon.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Enough for Ron Swanson. Go Parks and Rec.
All right.
Check it out if you haven't, people.
Last one is
Syracuse, Houston.
I like the over.
It's going to be a lot of scoring.
I like the over if the number is nice.
It's going to be high, man. Syracuse and Houston, run. It's all run.
Are we talking
these
a
aren't
155, 160?
No, get out of here.
No, total over.
I think they're both going to score over. I think they're both going to score over
70.
70. Yeah, I'm confident in that. Syracuse isn't that Syracuse of old 2-3 zone. We're going to slow down the game. All I've seen from Syracuse this tournament has been just running and scoring and running and gunning.
And we know Houston can score.
Yeah, Houston. All they do is score. Their offense wasn't great last game, but
they still got it done.
Yeah, they still got it done. They probably have the second best run offense after Baylor, I think, to be honest. But so I don't know. What do you think on that game?
I like Syracuse, man. I think Syracuse has been coming in hot, and it's the year of the underdog. So I'm gonna ride with Syracuse on that one.
I think they'll cover. I don't know if they'll win the game.
I think it's going to be a fun one. That's probably the second best matchup of the day.
I agree with you. Yeah. If you know what's funny, it really depends on what game you like more. Early in the day, if you like watching defensive, gritty basketball, that's going to be the one to watch. If you just want to watch a lot of scoring, the late game is the game to watch. Syracuse and Houston, both of those games are polar opposites, but I'm going to enjoy watching both of them.
Me too. Yeah, well said, Dean. Well said. We're not going to get into the Sunday matchups. We'll do that on
Friday.
On Friday. Let's
talk.
Yeah,
definitely.
We're not going to really be talking a whole lot of NBA until we're further into the tournament. Right now, it's all March Madness. I'm having a good time with that. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss around the leagues of the professional sports?
Well, today, actually, rest in peace, Elgin Baylor passed away at 86 years old. Man. NBA legend.
R.I.P.
Elgin Baylor. Laker legend. When I was watching the Gonzaga game, Ernie and Kenny and Charles were like teary-eyed talking about him because he's like a big brother to those guys. So that was tough to watch. He's a tough guy. R.I.P.
A lot of people
then,
in like that era are like we're starting to see a lot of those guys like around all the major sports, you know.
Yeah, a lot of them, man. This last year, a lot of like pro,
a lot of baseball players I've seen,
and basketball too.
But I feel like mostly like I've seen a lot of baseball guys like Hank and some random ones that I don't even remember, but my dad knows.
Your dad knows, yeah.
My dad's like, "Oh no, this guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know who he is."
Yeah, that's in other news. So LeBron's going to be out a month with that high ankle sprain. So
wow. Oh, the Lakers are going to have a fun time figuring things out without LeBron and AD.
Well, I also saw it on the other side of the take. Don't you think that that's just you're basically giving LeBron a break for the playoffs until the playoffs?
You think that's what they're doing?
No, I don't think it's intentional, but you're not going to have a guy that's 250 pounds play through a high ankle sprain.
No.
You know?
No.
You know? Like, a guy that his entire game depends on his vision and his athleticism. You're not going to be doing that. You don't want a heavy guy out there playing on a high ankle sprain. And then the other big, huge news. So Saturday night, LaMelo broke his wrist. He's probably done for the season. So rookie of the year out the window. I think that's Anthony Edwards now.
Yeah, and I really feel bad for the Hornets, man. They were an 8th seed over there in the Eastern Conference. They look like they were starting to click, and their young star goes down, and that's looking like a wrap for that team. I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs.
I think it sucks because I think LaMelo should be the rookie of the year. But Anthony Edwards is going to get it now with the games that Wiseman and LaMelo, missed. It's crazy. I know Anthony Edwards has had some impressive scoring nights, but LaMelo has impressed me the most out of every rookie.
He's just the most ready. Anthony Edwards can score, but yeah, I think in terms of winning basketball games and what it takes to do that, LaMelo's shown us that he's got that.
I'm so impressed with his court vision. I knew it was good, but I feel like we didn't get to see it as much in obviously in high school or in Australia. I mean, a little more, obviously much more in Australia, but I feel like now he has those young, good 3-point shooters on the Hornets, and they didn't really have a catalyst to get them the ball until they drafted LaMelo. And now, guys are running out to the 3-point. LaMelo just is, man, he's a wizard out there.
Shots at Kemba right there?
I think you can, even at this point, say that LaMelo is a much better passer than Kemba ever was or ever will be. Kemba was more of a shooting guard than a point guard. Let's be honest here. Some people give Steph crap about that, but Steph, man, still gets assists. Kemba really doesn't get that many assists. When I watch the Celtics play, I'm just does he feel like a true point out there? I don't. I feel like really Kemba. Go ahead.
He doesn't fit that roster to me, but go ahead.
When I think of Kemba, I think of cardiac Kemba. I think of him shooting. I don't think of him passing.
Shooting and dribbling and making people miss.
Yeah, crossing people over, not passing. You're right. You know what? That team would love LaMelo. They need a true point guard. They need a Chris Paul, someone that will assist. Because you don't need Kemba out there scoring. You got Jaylen Brown and you got Jason Tatum. You need a guy to give him the damn ball.
Kemba's
what you said.
Ball dominant.
Exactly, and that's why he really hasn't found a good home since the Charlotte Hornets roster completely was based around him, ISO.
Yeah,
he hasn't been good on it, since.
And I think for him to change his game, I know we're talking about the Celtics here and it's random, but just to get into that quickly, for him to change his game and fit in with the Celtics, it really was hard and it's been hard for him because it's just not his game. So, and he's not one of those guys that could fit seamlessly and blend in with the rest of them. He's the point guard. He's got to be the one to set the tone.
Yeah, I think it is kind of whack because I think that Kyrie, man, if Kyrie had just stayed in Boston, they'd be. If he just didn't want so much of a spotlight on himself, ironically, he's second fiddle to KD, but I mean, KD's been out. I think Kyrie's talent fits great along Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that would have been a fun team.
I think a little bit of his selfishness and the fact that he wants to go get his, and the Celtics kind of want their point to distribute, is what tanked that relationship. But I think, man, wouldn't they be scary right now if Kyrie just deferred a little bit to the younger stars? Man, the Celtics would be really, really good instead of this weird, sketchy 500 team that they are.
Yeah, I'd have a lot more respect for Kyrie as well, but
Yeah, the flat earther, of course.
So
that's about it for NBA news. That was the major injuries.
Yeah,
and
NBA,
RIP Elgin Baylor.
Celtics talk. Got to shout out the Celtics.
Yeah, that's funny how we just wrapped around there. The NBA trade deadline I think is Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see.
On Friday we might be talking about some stuff.
We'll
right?
talk about
there's probably going to be some.
We'll talk about where Oladipo and the Bogdanoviches of the league. We'll talk about where those guys are.
Yeah, I always find it's funny football and baseball, they don't always wait. Baseball does. But I feel like basketball is so, they wait until the last day to go crazy on trades, more so than the other sports. So, might be some chaos on Thursday morning. But we'll talk about that on Friday. And then we'll talk about the Sunday, the other 8 teams. Right now, Alabama's up 27-22 with 8:50 left in the first. Michigan has a 10-point lead with 3.5 minutes left. Florida State is up 28-25 with about 16 minutes left. And we already know that Oregon, Gonzaga, and UCLA all advanced, and Creighton. So
it's a quick episode today, just because there's not really a whole lot going around. Aside from the March Madness matchups that we just dove into.
Is there any? We can give some NBA bets maybe if you're down. If there's any NBA games on, I don't know. We don't have to if you don't want to, but
no. Let me check.
Maybe some Pacific Division.
Yeah, let's see if there's any of our matchups. There's a Clippers game, but I really stay away from the Clippers like the plague because Kawhi or Paul George will sit out randomly.
Oh yeah.
And then your bet's pretty much toast.
But the Hawks, I don't know. The Hawks are kind of crappy.
They're 6.5-point favorites. Assuming both Paul George and Kawhi play, I think they can cover. I mean, I think they can cover.
Yeah. Maybe we can do. 1 second, people. Sorry about this. Just checking.
We can talk about Warriors tomorrow.
Why don't we the Warriors Sixers? Oh, that'll be a good game.
Warriors Sixers tomorrow, and then Trailblazers Nets. We'll talk about those two, and then we'll call it.
Oh, we could do Suns Heat.
Yeah, those are 3 good ones. Okay, so
yeah, we'll get those 3. That's how we'll end this. All right, let's do it.
Sixers and Warriors. Is Steph
7 p.m. Pacific?
Is Steph coming back?
So I heard he's questionable, but I don't know. I don't know. It made it sound like the way Kerr was talking about it was he sounded more doubtful than questionable, even though they said questionable. I don't know, man.
He hit the ground hard there on that metal.
Yeah, and they were talking about, if there were fans in the stands, somebody would have caught him or something. There wouldn't have been another thing,
I'm surprised no one was over there. I mean, I guess COVID, right?
Yeah, there was no one over there. Did you see, man, Did you see him in Memphis? He was using a cane He's using like a pimp cane, like this little skinny ass. He was walking around with a cane, like literally, like that's how much pain his tailbone is in.
Oh,
that's
dude,
like not chill.
I've landed on my tailbone. One time, me and Dean were walking very far distance in the rain when we were in a.
I remember that.
We were probably about 20, so it was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And it was rainy. We were walking up the hill over to our buddy's house.
That was stupid.
Where your car was parked. And I ate it, and I landed on my tailbone. And it was one of those things where you just like, I landed on concrete, but he landed on metal, so his might hurt more. But it's just one of those things, and I'm sure you've done it. It's just like, you just kind of go, like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like the Houston guy, one of the Houston players. He got a rib injury. So like it's like on your tailbone and on your ribs, like they're bruised. So every time you breathe, or you breathe when you have your rib injury, or when you move your back at all,
or your
tailbone,
down, or you sit.
It's not like you're you can't create a worse injury, and it's really not that bad of an injury, but it's very painful. It's like very uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it was just uncomfortable. So, I mean, Steph Curry, he's 33.
Yeah, you don't want Steph to play through that. Like, it's too much, you know?
I'm not going to ask him to play through that.
I mean, what do you think of the game? Should we do... God, he had a cane. I don't think he's going to play.
Man, the Sixers are doing Sixers things, man. They're winning a lot. So
yeah,
they're hot, man. It'd be hard for me to bet the Warriors on this one if Steph Curry's going to be out.
Yeah, I would.
In the month of March, they've lost one game, Dean.
The Sixers, yeah,
they're 8. Well, they're 8-1.
Because Embiid is a freaking MVP front runner. That's why
they're 8-1. Their only loss comes against the Bucks, and that was an OT by 4 points. Everything else is.
And Embiid didn't play that game. Did you see that? The Bucks fans were bragging about that win. Embiid didn't even play in that game.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm a Warriors fan, but depending on the spread, I might even take the Sixers on the spread. I just don't know.
The cover?
Yeah, I just don't think
it's really hard. We want to be honest with our audience. I think I'd have to agree with you. I think if Steph doesn't play, I think they can be favored by 10 points, even away. You know, like what do you think? If Steph doesn't play, I think they could be favored by 10, even though they're the away team.
You know, when we were able to get away with it against Memphis and steal that first game, you know, that's against Memphis. That's a very young team. You know, they got Dylan Brooks and John Morant and a few other players that are on the younger side.
Their offense looked better last year. I mean, granted, the guy from Michigan State at Beast, the power forward, he's not not Collins. What's his last name? You know who I'm talking about. The Michigan State guy. He was the guy that they picked the year before Ja.
Is Jared Allen still playing with them too?
No, Jared Allen's on the Cavs, I thought.
He got traded?
Jared Allen? Jared Allen's the guy that went to UT?
No, the Duke
He
guy.
didn't get traded to Memphis.
No, not Jared Allen. What about Grayson Allen?
Oh, Grayson Allen. Yeah, he's on the... I mean, but he's a glorified role player. I mean, he's not... He's
not playing that.
He played all right. He was in the rotation. He's not like one of their stars, but I think that after watching that Warrior-Memphis game, I think that...
He played 32 minutes. He's their starting shooting guard now.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be starting. Some of the guys on Memphis shouldn't be starting. Like, I'm not very impressed with them. Memphis looked bad. They looked bad in both games. Like, really, really, really bad. It was a lot of ISO, Ja Morant. That's all their offense was.
Yeah.
And that could be because the Michigan State guy's out, probably, most likely, but it was ugly basketball. It was really... That was bad basketball to watch.
I will say this. I would be interested in taking a look at the points props for Jordan Poole. He's on an absolute tear.
Man, he's been averaging over 20 points a game.
I mean,
I think
take him on a cool 20 points, 4 threes.
Assists. He's been distributing well too.
I like him on 4 threes because he pretty much eats from outside the arc.
4 threes, that's confidence right there, people.
All right, so let's talk Heat and Suns.
So if Steph doesn't play, the Sixers will have them cover, most likely most spreads. And if Steph plays, we still think the Sixers are probably going to win, but I think the Warriors might cover if Steph plays.
We'll consider the spread.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll probably tweet about it, right, Brady?
We always do. Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Our socials will be in the description.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Suns and Heat, man. That's poetry right there to the ear. You know, the sun does create heat.
God, troll.
It's a bad joke. Yeah, interesting. I think I'm gonna lean Suns.
I think, man, I'm really impressed with the Suns. I would take the Suns. I know the Heat are really hot right now, right? Huh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But they are, right? Like after their terrible start, they've been on a kind of a tear, right?
They dropped they dropped their last 3 games. So recently they're in a minor slump.
Oh, before that, it must have been before that.
Before that, they won 5 in a row.
That's because this last week we've been on March Madness. That's
they won 5. They won 5 in a
row.
row, and then they lost, and then they won another 6 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So they're playing better. But
they're 11-1 at one point.
We were talking about it earlier, man. Tyler Herro. What the hell happened to Tyler Herro?
You got a song made about him.
He's been terrible.
He had a song made about him, and I mean, we look at players in Florida who get music songs or rap songs written about them. The first one being Mo Bamba, and now Tyler Herro had a big viral song called Tyler Herro by the What's Poppin' guy, and it's starting to be like the new Madden, the Madden cover song.
Yeah. Do you think Tyler Herro, so talking about COVID, he said that like his rookie year, like he couldn't go out. He was in the lab. That's what he said. He was like in the lab all day, man, just practicing his craft. Like do you think because Florida's kind of opened up some of their stuff, do you think he's going a little wild now? Do you think that's affecting his shooting? Because Tyler Herro, man, kind of became an overnight sensation in Miami. Like everyone knows Tyler Herro in Miami, man. Like the playoffs.
Oh, he's probably.
What do you think about that?
He's a 20. Is he even 21?
I don't know. He's 20 or 21.
I think he's 20. I don't even think he's 21.
Yeah, but he's a professional basketball player. He'll get in places still,
Yeah, but I'm just saying he's not even old enough to have a legal drink. I know he'll probably get in, but I'm just saying, man, he really. What I'm trying to allude to here is he really, hit the jackpot at such an early age. It's like seeing like a Disney star blow up. I feel like I'm trying to
ask, but I want to ask you, not just the mindset. Do you think he's spending less time practicing?
Yeah, that's what I was
more
getting
time
to.
Partying.
That's what I was getting to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, go ahead. Keep going. That's what I was asking.
What I was getting to was, when we see these people like he really blew up, like big time, became one of the more notable players.
Comparing him to Klay Thompson, the blasphemy. Jesus.
Like, I'll tell you how many. I know you don't listen to hip hop, but I'll tell you how many views that song got. I'm assuming it over 100 million on Spotify. Yeah, 141 million plays on Spotify. So that's a pretty decently sized song. Probably spreading around TikTok. So
yeah.
Not nowhere as big as Mo Bamba, and I know it's like, what are you talking about music right now? But I'm just saying, like, when you're a player and you have this big streak in the playoffs and you get hot and you're just, everyone's watching the NBA, or a lot of people are watching the NBA during COVID because there's nothing else on. Like, what else are you going to freaking do? You're going to turn on some basketball and watch. So he really became a household name. And I think I do think he's partying.
I also hope. Do you remember? I don't think this is going to happen to him because guys like D Wade ended up fine. But do you remember Michael Beasley?
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy? Out of Kansas State, he was averaging 24 or 26 a game. You remember him and Katie were best friends, and he came out and Miami just destroyed him. He partied way too hard, and it kind of destroyed his career. He got hooked on drugs, and I'm not saying that's going to happen to Tyler Herro, but in that market, that's hard to be focused on your job living in Miami.
Well, it's funny, dude. It's like I remember when he was popping off, this porn star or something, this Instagram thought hits him up on Twitter, and Tyler Herro responds and sliding in those DMs publicly, and I don't know, it was a viral thing. For sure, he's partying down there, and there's definitely some distractions.
Miami just is so crazy. I hope he ends up just remembering that.
And he looks the part too. He's got this swagger to him. I feel like
he does have swagger and confidence. He does, but not right now with the bricks that he's building those houses with right now. But
yeah. And I did watch his video where how he spent his first million, which I think is one of the dumbest YouTube.
What did that? I didn't watch that. Just quickly.
It's these
bullet points.
These YouTube videos of these celebrities, and it's usually rappers and basketball players, where they're all right, how did you spend your first million? And they grab all.
No. I know what you're talking. I'm not that out of touch.
Have you seen?
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
What did he spend his on? Yeah.
I was just gonna say I don't like how they're promoting that because I think it's just encouraging reckless spending. But anyways.
Yeah.
He, not to sound like an old man, but he, I don't know, he just bought a car, some chains, just very typical, dumb investments. And it just kind of shows he's a 20 or 19-year-old kid at the time, and he's getting paid big bucks, and he's popping down in Miami. So, big rant here.
So we both agree. We hope he dials it in a little bit.
Yeah, we want him to
went on a tangent, but
yeah. Get clean, kid.
This. We're not saying that Tyler Herro partakes in the illegal party.
Although Columbia has quite the connection down there.
Columbia and Bama.
Last matchup, Dean.
So we'll take the Suns. I think I'll take the Suns to cover.
Nets and Trailblazers. So the other team, we've been talking a lot about hot teams. So we went Sixers, Heat, and Suns.
You talked me out of. I wanted the Portland Trailblazers last game, and they won that game, and you talked me out of it.
You're right.
I think Dame and CJ. I think they're going to cover this game. I am going to put my foot down.
I'm with you.
Talked me out of it last game.
I was just going to say I like Trailblazers. They've proved me wrong twice now. I foolishly bet the Mavericks 2 games in a row, and they've not only, it's really impressive to me. Looking at their past 4 games, Pelicans and Mavericks, I know they're not great teams, but we've talked about it a lot on our podcast. When teams play these hockey series, or baseball series, sorry.
Yeah.
The baseball series, a lot of times we see the other teams making adjustments, and, it's a professional level. You would expect the team to usually split, right? Back-to-back hockey series in their last 4 games, or baseball series. I keep saying
baseball series.
So they played Pelicans.
Cool.
They played Pelicans twice. They beat the Pelicans twice. They played the Mavericks.
They swept.
They lost to the Mavericks yesterday. Never mind. I just went on a tangent.
Oh, I was talking about the first game. The first game.
Oh, okay, yeah. Never mind. I'm sorry. Forget what I said. But they're still playing really well.
It's cool. They won 3 out of 4 though on the road, right?
Yeah. No, it's impressive.
It's on the road.
Yeah.
Staying out, New Orleans and Dallas, they're very far away from home. I think that's impressive going out there winning 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 against 2 good teams.
Yeah, two playoff caliber teams with the plan. I think that CJ has come back with a vengeance, man.
Finally,
Colin's been playing great. Yeah, so.
Well, he was struggling at first.
But because he was out 2 months, right?
Yeah,
was he literally out like 2 months?
No, I agree. I'm just saying the first couple of games he was out, but yesterday he really dialed in, or 2 days ago.
Yeah. But I think when him and Dame are on the floor, I think, when Steph and Clay aren't playing, they're the best backcourt in the NBA. So.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the Trailblazers will cover. I don't know if they'll beat the Nets, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, man, the Nets are just looking like the clear-cut favorite. The only thing is how will they play when KD's back?
Do you? Last thing, then we'll end this. But what do you think of? Man, KD's been out a while. I heard Max. I listened to Max Kellerman's show, and Max Kellerman's show is different than First Take because they're not feeding him stuff to talk about.
He speaks his mind, man.
He's not reading off a prompter essentially like he is on First Take. Because Stephen A. gets all the good takes. I was listening to Max Kellerman's show, and he was like, "Man, like, what's up with KD?" And I was like, "A good point. Like, we haven't heard anything about KD's injury. Like, what's going on with him? Like, it kind of makes me nervous, like with the Anthony Davis stuff, like." Because the thing was, you remember when KD, he didn't, okay, to backtrack a little bit, how you heard Clay talking, Clay's like, when he came back, he was going to be on a minutes restriction, like next year, and maybe the first month he won't play more than 20 minutes a game. KD came out and was not on a minutes restriction this year, and it's like, holy crap, KD's just, you remember he scored like 30 a game? He had no minutes restriction. I'm kind of worried. I hope he's all right because he's been out a while, off and on, and
Yeah, he's been out for about a month and a half now, and that came quick. But
isn't it kind of, I don't know, sus is the right word, but that we haven't really heard anything.
Well, doesn't it make sense now why they went after James Harden?
You think there's some lingering issue with the Achilles, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would go
really?
as far as say that, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what else would it be, man? They're probably saving him for the playoffs. I mean, look at what they're able to do right now. Apparently, it's his hamstring. I don't buy it personally. I think that there's some deeper issues going on. Because no one goes out with their hamstring for that long.
No. Now, hamstrings, if you're like a wide receiver or a basketball player, they do linger for a couple weeks, but he's been out a while. I hope he's all right because I'm getting that sus vibe, that we had with Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is pretty sketch right now too.
Did you see KD get salty on Twitter? I know that's nothing new.
No.
So Steve Kerr was on the show that we like to watch post Warriors games with Drew Schiller on NBC. Former Burlington.
Oh, the Warriors talk or whatever?
Warriors talk. So he was on there, and they asked, and I forget what the question was, but Steve Kerr said he had more fun on the 15 and 50 or whatever, the team they were on last year where they lost all those games. He had more fun on that Warriors team than he did on the final year with KD, where they lost to the Raptors.
Oh.
So essentially,
were they? Go ahead. Yeah.
Were they cherry picking for that? Is that what you're gonna ask?
I want to know if they were pushing for that. Yeah.
I definitely think they were. I wouldn't doubt it.
Kerr wouldn't say that out of the blue.
No,
every day.
Oh yeah,
every
so he finds this because I'm sure he's got people in his circle that are like, "Yo, did you see what Coach Kerr said?" So he responded, and he's like, this,
I feel like his circle's so toxic. Sorry, I just have to say that. Go ahead.
He's like, "This is hilarious." He comments, and he's like, "This is hilarious." I don't know. It kind of shows like how salty he is. He's
like sassy, like a sassy. This is hilarious, right?
Yeah, man.
We're Warriors fans. I'm totally cool with what he did, but he made the last year really like not fun, like he really didn't, and we saw it was his time to leave. But you know what? I give him a right to be upset. He went out there and he tore his Achilles trying to get us a 3-peat, So
But maybe
I'm not gonna talk anything bad about KD.
But maybe
he gave it all.
But maybe Kerr was saying like, all right, well, I didn't have that much fun that year because we had such high expectations, and KD goes down, Clay, tears his ACL.
The fact that he automatically assumes it is telling. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
That he means it when Kerr could just mean because of all the injuries. He takes it that way, so he's feeling some type of way, obviously, still about it. That's what you're saying.
All right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. Bama's up 10 right now, going into the second half, and
beautiful. Roll Tide.
Colorado's down 9 here.
Go FSU.
And that's.
Oh, you're betting on the Bucks, aren't you?
Yes, I did.
My bad.
No, you're good.
My bad.
You're good, bro. You're good. I'm cool to end here, man. I think we did a good show.
Yeah, we got in some NBA news, some NBA picks, and March Madness. So on Friday we'll talk about Sunday's half of the Sweet 16, and we will go over. There's probably going to be a lot of NBA free agency stuff, so that's probably going to be a longer episode than this. And then, as Brady alluded to earlier, on Monday probably we're going to have Riley back on, and he's going to give us his takes on the Elite Eight. It shook up everyone's brackets. I don't think Riley's brackets did so well, but we're going to have him on, because he was very knowledgeable.
Get some good previews for the Elite Eight. Talk about how.
I'm very curious to hear. Yeah. I'm very curious to talk about all that with Riley and his takes on the Elite Eight. So that's our next 2 episodes. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Good Flannel Monday, man.
All right, man.
Yeah. All right, peace,
awesome,
people.
Awesome day, and appreciate you guys for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.